Shavua Tov, Parshat Vayera, a lot of issues, a lot of midrashim, and we'll do with Bisur Sarah, the Bsora to Sarah at the beginning of the Parsha, that she'll have a ben. So, ויאמר אלוקים, שרה אשתך, לא יקרא שמה שרה, כי שרה שמה, וגם נתתי ממנה וכולי, she'll give birth. כתיב אשת חיל עטרת בעלה. So, you know, אשת חיל, the famous פרק in which ספר משלי ends. Somehow we think that it's about the wife, but it has a lot of interpretations in the Midrash about the Torah, about other things. And here is the Midrash uses a pasuk from Perek Yud Bet, Eshet Chayil Ater Bala. There it's for sure the Eshet Chayil, the wife. Amar, and he sees the first wife of the Tanakh, Sarah, as the best Eshet Chayil, because we know that Noach was Noach had a wife called Naamah, not mentioned explicitly. We don't know anything about her. We know Chava, but just the Chet, we don't know anything about her. And Sarah or Hagar are the first wives to be expanded. Okay. So Amar Rabbi Acha, Ba'ala.
Adam made a mistake by listening to his wife, and Avram was told to listen to his wife.
Avram was told what?
To listen to his wife.
Yeah. He was told.
That's later.
Yeah, so this is a real Eshet Chayil, to which you have to listen. Amar Rabbi Acha, Ba'ala nit'ater ba. Look what the Midrash says. Vehi lo nit'atra be'ba'ala. So if the husband wants, to be coronated, so he says, I'm the wife of Sarah. But she cannot say my husband is Abraham, because it doesn't say anything. She is much more important than him. Rabbanan Amrei, Marta leba'ala. Marta leshon marut. She has the say in the house. Bechol makom ha'ish gozer. Exactly what you said. Bramhacha kol asher tomar elecha sara shma bekola. So those who think that kol asher tomar elecha sara shma bekola is just an example of how you should listen to your wife, no, the Midrash says it's an exemption, because it's not the ordinary what you should do, but Sarah was very extraordinary. She was something special, and Avraham was told to listen to her. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Korcha, the famous Midrash, Yud שנטל הקדוש ברוך הוא משרי, נחלק חציו לשרה וחציו לאברהם. So here the Midrash uses mamash the gematria as a number, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has taken a Yud from Sarai, and it's 10, and then you have two Hey, because Hey is 5 and Yud is 10, and then you can use it half to Sarah, half to Avraham. Interesting, because maybe there is a symbol that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has taken a rib, or whatever it means, a side from Adam HaRishon to make Chava, and here, Ke'ilu, the fertility, in any case, is given to the woman, because the wife, she gives the Yud from which you can use half for herself, half for her husband, in order to make the fertility, whatever it means, because it's not clear who had the problem. We'll see in בהמשך that Sarah Lichora didn't have a womb, and therefore she couldn't give birth, but somehow we can think that it was a problem of Avraham. We cannot say that, because we know that he had kids from Hagar, but somehow, according to the Midrash, without saying the physical issues, the Midrash says that the Yud Shenatal HaKadosh Baruch Hu Misarai was divided into two parts, one to each person, Sarah and Avraham. So it's Ke'ilu come from Sarah, and it's because of her they both can give birth. אמר רב שמעון בר יוחאי, יוד שנטל הקדוש ברוך הוא משרי, היה טס ופורח לפני כיסאו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. So here he is mamash doiresh the otiyot. We know that Rabbi Akiva, his rabbi, was doresh kol kutzo shel yud, famous Gemara in Menachot, Kaftet. And here you see his Talmid, Rab Shimon Bar Yochai, the famous Zohar person, that he deals with all the small things, tiny things. היה פורח וטסו פורח לפני כיסאו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. So the Yud was angry, was frustrated that he was taken. אמר לו לפניו, ריבונו של עולם, בשביל שאני קטנה שבאותיות. We know that as a Yud, we do like a small resh, but in Sefer Torah it's like a dot. You just put a feather on the ink and that's it. That's a Yud. That's a basic Yud. So Tani Misara Tzadeket. So the Yud comes like an underdog. You have taken me just because I'm so small. אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, לשעבר ראית משמע של נקבה ובסופן של אותיות. So at the beginning you were at the end of Sarah's name, a female one. עכשיו אני נותן לך בשמו של זכר, a male one, ובראשן של אותיות, שנאמר, ויקרא משה להושע בן נון, יהושע. So the first midrash, Rabbi Yoshua ben Korcha, actually, according to Chazal, he was a son of Rabbi Akiva, maybe. So he says that the same Yud was shared mamash עכשיו to Avraham and Sarah, but according to Rab Shimon Bar Yochai, it will be just in the future. After a while, when Yoshua ben Nun, ויקרא משה להושע בן נון יהושע, before the Meraglim, and Rashi says there, according to the Gemara in Sotah, יושיעך מעצת המרגלים. הקדוש ברוך הוא will help you with the spy's advice. So here you see that the Yud went from Yehoshua to Sarah. It's interesting because there is a linkage between Yehoshua and Sarah. Why? Because Sarah is a kara, she doesn't have any son, and Yehoshua somehow we don't know anything about his kids. And the Gemara discusses and says that he had just daughters. He didn't have any sons. So in a way, he's a mirror male of Sarah as a female. Like he doesn't have any kids. She, according to the Pshat, he doesn't have any kids at all because there is no discussion whether to bequeath his kingdom to anybody else. We just know that Yoshua passes away, and there is a big hole, big void. That we have the Skenim at the end of Sefer Yoshua, and then we have the Sefer Shoftim. So we don't know of any descendants that he had, and that's why he is equalized into Sarah. Amar Rabbi Hana, לשעבר הייתה עצמה, עכשיו תהא שרה לכל באי לעולם. So here, the Yud and the Hey are not considered just as a number or as a ot, as a letter, but Sarai means for myself. As I say, if I say my words, I say dvarai. If I say my legs, I say raglai. So if I say Sarai, it has an individual meaning. When I say Sarah with Hey, it's like regel, it's like dvarim, it's like objective noun. So from Sarah means srara, means reigning. So according to the Midrash, till now she was just Sarah le'atzma, maybe in the house over Avraham. Now she'll be Sarah lechol be'ei ha'olam, meaning lichora, we don't know that she was a queen of the world, that she ordered and gave orders to anybody else. Just to Hagar we saw it. So I think that according to the Midrash, when a woman has a kid, so there she thinks that she's not, that then she feels herself as not individual, as somebody that has a share, as something to give to the world. When she is for herself without kids, so she is just Sarai Latzma. I don't think that the Midrash says about that she was very, aggressive and gave orders to others. But the Midrash speaks here in his language about the role of a woman before and after the giving birth.
Can you also say that the Yud from Sarah, I mean, the land was promised to give to the offspring of Abraham and Sarah, and here you have the Yud is the one that's actually implementing it.
Right.
With Yoshua.
Right, that's very nice. We can see the Yud, we know that the earth, the ground, Eretz Israel, as we see in Parshat Lech Lecha, Kadosh Baruch Hu spans it, says Yama Vakedma, but if we mekavetz it, if you shrink it, so it comes to the Yud. So the Yud can symbolize the earth, the promise of the promised land given to her Zera, her descendant. Till now there was nothing to give it to, and then now from now on Yoshua will be the one that is given the earth. Very nice, very nice. Okay. Uvirachti ota. So the Yud symbolizes the minimum, the minimum of the ground. Yes, as the promise itself. Uvirachti ota vegam natati lecha mimena lecha ben. Okay, so what does it mean? Virachti ota, one thing. Vegam natati mimena lecha ben, other thing. It's the same thing. So you might say that Virachti ota for herself, that she'll have a son, and to you it will be the fulfillment of the promise. As Rabbi Yehuda ורב נחמיה, Rabbi Yehuda אומר, וברכתי אותה, ניתן לבן, וברכתיה, כן, לברכת החלב. So I don't understand where does it take the ברכתיה, as there is no word in the pasuk like this. So he understands that there is a maybe virachti ota instead of writing virachtia, so it's superfluous. Yes, because we could have written it in a shortened way, uvirachtia, and therefore he says there are two brachot just in the beginning of the pasuk, the birkat hachalav. Okay, so it's not common that a woman of 90 years will have milk for the baby. אמר לא רב נחמיה. וכי כבר נתבשרה בחלב, והלא עדיין לא נתעברה. So what, it's too early to promise her that you'll have milk. And I add that it's not such a big deal, because we know that they had may naked. So once you have a baby, you can find may naked from other women, and you don't need the Sarah itself. It's better, spiritually, Chalav, Israel, whatever. But why should we promise her now? אלא מלמד שהחזירה הקדוש ברוך הוא לימי נערותיה. Okay, so it was a mess, but she became young and with all the physical meaning, and I think with all the spiritual, psychological meaning, because if you're 90 years old and you're a mother nowadays of a baby, so there is a big gap between you and him, her, and you cannot take him to the courtyard, to the kindergarten. You're just too old for that. So Sarah should have changed psychologically to her youth, and that's what the Midrash said. רבי אבאו בשם רבי יוסי בן חנינא, נותן אני יראתה על כל עובדי כוכבים. Okay, so now there is a cheshbon between not Sarah and herself, but with the whole world, because the whole world said that Sarah cannot give birth. דלא יהון מונים לה וצווחין דעה קראתה. That they once say and cry, this is a person who cannot give birth. So from now on, everybody will know that she can give birth. Everybody will see the miracle in public. Rabbi Yehuda b'shem Rish Lakish says, Ikar mitrin lo avala, v'galef la'akadosh baruch hu ikar mitrin. So I don't know what mitrin means. Maybe it's like the Midrash that says that she didn't have the womb, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu engraved. That's the galaf. Ikar mitrin. Maybe it's, I don't know what to say. It's shachalot, chatzutzrot, what we call in Hebrew. according to the Midrash, she couldn't give birth. It wasn't just a problem, as I said on Shabbat Shiur. It's not just of the ovula, of the eggs, whatever. It's a problem of the whole system. She didn't have a womb. She didn't have the system to give birth. She was a real akara, not just because of a specific problem. She couldn't give birth in any case. And that was a pure miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created yesh me'ayin. Yes, the Leida of Yitzchak is not just yesh miyesh. It's not just a changing of years or making her younger. It's a yesh me'ayin. You take somebody who cannot give birth and makes ness in front of the whole world. Malchei amim mimena ihiyu. אמר רב חמה ברבי חנינא, מכאן דרש אברהם והחזיר את קטורה. So we know that Abraham had a wife or Pilegesh that was called Ketura. There is a machloket in the Midrash whether she was Hagar or a different one. And it's written explicitly, ולבני הפילגשים אשר לאברהם נתן אברהם מתנות וישלחם. So he sent away. And that's another branch of the world, because we know that there were a lot of branches from Cain, from Noach, from Shem, from the other brothers of Noach's sons. And now from Abraham, we know that not only do we have Ishmael, but also we have the Bnei Keturah. So according to the Midrash, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised him, Malchei Amim Mimena Ihiyu, so he understood that not only the kings would come out of Sarah, but also the nations, okay? Because you need, as we always say about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, En melech bli am. There is no king without his nation. You should coronate over somebody. So if you have a promise of kings, and not kings of Am Yisrael, Amim, so it means that you have a lot of nations. So how can it be? Because we know that from Hagar, Ishmael is a different wife. So actually, maybe Keturah is considered somehow, because she's just Pilegesh and not an other wife, maybe she's considered, a secondary Sarah. Therefore, Malchei Amim Mimena Ihiyu, once he has Malchei nations from Keturah, it might be that it's considered from Sarah as well. That's how I understand. I'm not sure that's a real pshat. If you have a different pshat, please advise. Pardon?
That she had, Sarah gave Hagar. Ulai ibaneh mima.
Okay. So you say first of all that Keturah is Hagar, and secondly Ulai ibaneh mima. Yeah, maybe that is because of her, it's called it's related somehow to Sarah. Okay. טוב. ויפול אברהם על פניו ויצחק. So Abraham, instead of saying thank you, הקדוש ברוך הוא, he laughs. And שתי פעמים נפל אברהם על פניו, וכנגדן נתלה מילה מבניו בית פעמים. Very interesting. Usually we see Nefilat Apayim as something of kavod, of something that you honor, you are afraid, you have Yirat Shamayim, and there you have Nefilat Apayim. But we can understand from the pshat that if the continuation is Vayitzchak, so the Midrash doesn't like the Vayipol Avram al Panav, he doesn't think that it was good. And it's interesting the linkage the Midrash does between the Milah and the Nefilat Apayim, okay? וכנגדן נתלה מילה מבניו פעמיים. So the mitzvah milah was given to Avraham, and it was a continuous mitzvah, but twice there were periods of time in which Am Yisrael couldn't circumcise. No, I'm not talking about the Ezrat, I'm talking about a real honest. אחד במצרים ואחד במדבר. Therefore, במצרים בא משה ומלן. As we know that before יציאת מצרים, Moshe had to circumcise them. That's why בדמי חיי, that was one of the two domim, one of the Korban Pesach and one of the Milah. And the same thing במדבר, that we know from Yehoshua Perek Hey that Am Yisrael couldn't circumcise during the period of the desert because it was dangerous. By Yehoshua Malan. So you have two substitutes to Abraham, Moshe and Yehoshua, just because it was that Abraham fell on his head, and it meant that he doesn't believe. Okay, so it's not clear what's a linkage between Nefilat Apayim and Milah. We can say that it's a linkage between Abraham and the Milah. The role of Milah was given to Abraham, and if you are not perfect because you don't believe in me, so I take the crown that I gave you, the Milah, twice, something like this. But maybe if we think it over, we should somehow relate it to Nefilat Apayim Mamash. Vayomer belibo, הלבן 100 שנה יוולד. Is it possible that 100 years old gives birth? ואם שרה, will she be able to give birth? ויודן ורבי עזריה, רבי יודן אמר, הלבן 100 שנה ייוולד, למה ששרה הבת 90 שנה תלד, האיש אינו מזקין והאישה מזקנת. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, the question wasn't about him. The question was just about Sarah. Because, as we know nowadays, that sometimes, see in the United States, there is a star that 80 years old that gets married with a 40 years old. Okay, because he can give birth in an older age, so it's not a miracle. 100 nowadays, it's a miracle, but okay. But what Avraham pointed out was that Sarah, the end, he just brought the Reisha in order to stress the Seifa. Sarah couldn't give birth at the age of 90. Rabbi Azariah אמר, אף לזאת לא נצרך, שהרי שרה בת 90 שנה לא הזקינה. So Rabbi Azariah comes to what we'll see at the beginning of Parashat Chayei Sarah, and it's interesting how we forget when we learn Parashat Chayei Sarah, the first בת 127 שנה, we forget all the Parashat Vayera. We say בת 100, כבת 20, כבת 7, she wasn't old. Okay, very nice, but now you see a big discussion over her age, so it means that she wasn't always young. So according to Rabbi Azariah, it's true that Sarah was never old, and she was all the way young, and therefore there is a taina that Avraham was not a true believer because he had a problem. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, the problem was just with himself. At the end, the Seifa was true, but according to Rabbi Zaya, even the Seifa wasn't true because the Sarah was never old.
Except it does say that Sarah was old. Abraham b'Sarah zikenim.
Okay, but he knew. Abraham b'Sarah zikenim says the objective truth that she was 90. But Abraham knew, apparently, according to Rabbi Azariah, that she doesn't function like an old person, that she functions, that it wasn't just a miracle from now, that she has always been like that she was young, and therefore he shouldn't have questioned anything about it. And therefore he was punished or whatever, it was considered as a choser emunah. It's not clear, by the way, what the punishment is, because if you see there is a big discrimination between Sarah and Abraham. She laughs, he laughs, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry at Sarah. He's not angry at Abraham. According to the Midrash that we just saw, there was a problem of punishing him by taking the milah, but it's not the pshat. The pshat is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu neglects completely what Avraham said, doesn't punish him at all, and punishes Sarah. Not punishes, angry at Sarah at the end of Parashat, at the beginning of Parashat Vayera. So, okay. Ezo is Kena. So, okay, maybe he has your question, Larry, that if objectively she was never old, so why she was called Zkena? כל שקוראים אותה אימא פלונית ואינה מקפדת. So everybody that is called the grandmother, okay, so she was called Ima. That you don't call her in her name, Sarah, you call her Ima or Savta or something like this. So it means that you have another generation. That's zikna according to this midrash. Not it doesn't have years. You can be 25, but if you are called the mother, therefore you are no longer your own personality. You have kids, and therefore you are zkena kivyachol. Okay.
Am I right in saying that Sarah is the only woman about whom we talk about age in the Torah?
Might be, yeah. I don't remember any other one.
I don't either.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, who are these guys before Abraham and Noah? They're 500 years old and they're having children. Who are the women?
That's a big question. Yes, that's a big question. We don't know. That's true. But yeah, you said something very important, that Sarah is the only one in the whole Tanakh that we discussed her age. Okay, interesting. מעניין. She's the only mother that we know exactly what happened in which age. Yes, because on Rivka we don't know anything. We don't know when she passed away. We don't know about Leah. We just nothing. Okay, interesting. Lu Ishmael yichyeh lefanecha. So Abraham has a hope that I wish that Ishmael would live. Okay.
What did he mean? What did he mean?
What did he mean? That don't promise me far-fetched promises. I don't want to hear, that you come to 100 years old and tell me, just, I have one son, it's enough. Let him live, okay? Don't promise me more than that. Just
wait. Abraham is sort of telling Hashem off in some way. Leave me alone.
Yeah, he tells him, I don't really believe you. I don't really believe you.
That's what he means.
Yeah. כמו, the same thing happens with the Isha Shunamit in Sefer Melachim, that Eliyahu or Elisha, I think Elisha, comes to her and says that you'll have a son, and she says, Al techazev b'shivchatecha, don't tell me lies. And then he says, no, in a year you'll have a son. The same thing happens here. Avraham says, I wish that Ishmael would live. That's enough for me. And there are a lot of problems. Yes, he doesn't relate to Sarah. He relates to himself. He doesn't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But yeah, he says, I don't believe. Rav Yuden, and that's a big question, why he wasn't punished about tzchok and about lack of belief. But that's it. רב יהודה בשם רב יהודה בר בסימון אמר, משל לאוהבו של מלך, שהיה המלך מעלה לו אנונה. So he gives him some money, some price. אמר לו המלך, אני מבקש לכפול אנונה שלך. I want to give you more, twice the first that I have given you. אמר לו, לא תמלא רוחי קריר, הלוואי קדמת לא תמנע. Okay, so don't promise me, don't make me, לא תמלא רוחי קריר. It's a very nice phrase in Hebrew. I don't know how to translate it. Don't fool my head with cold wind, okay? Something like this. Don't promise me things that will never happen. הלוואי קדמה איתה לא תמנע. Okay, let's say you're a broker and somebody comes and tells you that you had 5% of your investments in the bank. I give you from now on 10%. So you say, no, there is a war with Russia and Ukraine, all the bursa falls down, collapses. Don't promise me anything. Just 5% is totally enough. כך לא ישמעאל יחיה לפניך. So it doesn't say anything about, that's a pshat, yeah, just a mashal, but that's a pshat. ויאמר אלוקים, אבל שרה אשתך יולדת לך בן. Okay, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, I have promised you. As I said, it's very similar to Elisha, that no, you'll have a son. ולשמעאל שמעתיך, you have talking about Ishmael, okay, I've heard you. Rabbi Yochanan, בשם רבי יהודה בן חנינא, רבי שועה בן חנינא, בן הגבירה למד מבין האמה. הנה ברכתי אותו, זה יצחק, והפרתי אותו, זה יצחק, והרביתי אותו, זה יצחק, ולישמעאל כבר שמעתיך. I had already given you. Okay, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you, prune and graft, whatever you have by Ishmael, you'll make a copy as a busha. Yes, Yitzchak is just learned, equalized to Ishmael with all the promises. So I think that there is some cynicism in this midrash, that, okay, you have mentioned him, that's the source, you think in a small mind, Rosh Katan, okay, so we'll copy the Rosh Katan, the Ishmael, to Yitzchak, if that's all you want, okay? So we don't see what's a disadvantage of this copy, but it looks like a cynicism. Maybe there was much more if hadn't Avraham said that. Rabbi Abba bar Kahana b'shem Rabbi, Biri Khan ben Ha'ama lamed miben ha'gvira. So he doesn't agree, and he says no. Even here, ben Ha'ama Ishmael is blessed because of ben ha'gvira, because of Yitzchak. הנה ברכתי אותו זה ישמעאל, והפרתי אותו זה ישמעאל, והרביתי אותו זה ישמעאל. קל וחומר ואת בריתי, it's not וזאת, ואת בריתי הקים את יצחק. So הקדוש ברוך הוא just gives him the חידוש. Okay, you have Ishmael, so what you said Ishmael, okay, I'll give you more than one what I expected to give you. I wanted to give you just Yitzchak. Now you'll be given Ishmael plus. And here there is no, it's mamash mafli, because not only that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not angry, but also he gives him a blessing on what he said. He relates to him as if he wasn't mefakpek and skeptical about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's finish this and then we're over. אמר רבי יצחק, כתיב, כל אלה שבטי ישראל 12. So when Yaakov blesses all the shvatim in Parshat Vayechi, the pasuk sums up, כל אלה, these are all the tribes, 12. אלו בני גבירה. וישמעאל אינו מעמיד י"ב, אלא אותם נשיאים, היך מת דד אמרת, נשיאים ורוח וגשם עין, אבל אלו מטות, כמה דעת אמרת, שבעות מטות אומר סלע. So if you look at the end of Parshat חיי שרה, so חיי שרה? Yeah. חיי שרה. 12 נשיאים נאומותם. So the maftir, or the shvi there, discusses תולדות ישמעאל. Okay, חיי שרה. Before, ואלה תולדות יצחק at the beginning of פרשת תולדות, we have תולדות ישמעאל, and there we have 12. And Rashi says there, based on this midrash לדוגמה, that כל מה שיש לעם ישראל has Ishmael as well. We saw just now the comparison between Yitzchak and Ishmael. So we have 12 tribes. He has 12 tribes, and it's Nesim, but they are called Nesim. They are not called tribes. They are called Nesiim, presidents.
Okay, what's the difference?
What's the difference? So the Midrash plays with it very nicely and says Nesiim veruach vegeshem ayin. Nesiim in this pasuk means clouds. Nasi in good Hebrew, in the biblical Hebrew, is clouds. You look outside, you see that it's really black, but there is no rain. Okay, so sometimes the wind comes and it all goes away. So they have malchut, but it means nothing. But we have tribes, we have the matot. כמה דעת אמרת, שבעות מטות אומר סלע, which means that it's constant. And just finish with a story, you know that
but what is the connection? What is the connection? Esav also has 12.
Right, but here he compares between Ishmael and Yitzchak. It's based on what we saw before, and we have 12 and 12. And even though that Ishmael has Kehilat 12 tribes, they are called just Nesim, which means that they have no real existence, no essence. They are just like clouds, nothing. Okay, I'll give you a story which will explain it. you know that in Shnot HaShivim, in 1970, we have 3 minutes, so hurry up. In 1970, there was September the Black. There was a terror organization that was later on made the Munich Olympic Games, terror activity. And there was a time that they hijacked planes, few planes, and took them to Jordan. And on September 1970, a plane that was flying from Athens to New York was hijacked to Dawson place in Jordan. And Rav Hutner and his daughter and his son-in-law were on the plane. They were hijacked. And they were like a month held by the terrorists. And then it was a big mess that they let them all go, and they bombed the planes, the empty planes, just to show, Jordan that they support the Palestinians. And then later on, Hussein, the king of Jordan, kicked off the whole organization because he was afraid that they'll make riots in Jordan. So afterwards, Rav Hutner said that a lot of presidents, a lot of Nesichim with, the kafia, came to the plane to make fun of the hostages, to tell them I'm Arabic and who you are, and he said something. It's interesting that he could see exactly that they don't have how he said the Malchutkeit in Yiddish, that they have Nesi'im, but they don't have Malchut. It's something different. He said, I can see kings by, Elizabeth, the queen, or whatever. She has some kingdom, but they just have the honor and the Nesi'im, and they didn't have the Malchut. And he understood from their personality that they don't have any personality of a king, and maybe he related to this midrash that just presidency, nothing more than that. This will finish because in a minute the whole Zoom will bomb on our heads. So להתראות. יום טוב.
תודה.